It makes sense to think that we have a graded dose response. That is, I can't start by lifting 200 kilos from 100. I have to progress gradually to build muscle. So when we go slowly, we start to recruit all these neurons. We begin to achieve this activation of the fibers, even type 2B, which will lead to greater gains in muscle hypertrophy. For those who don't know, we have two types of muscle contraction. One is concentric, which is when I tense the muscle and shorten it. This is a concentric contraction. But if I keep applying force here and stretch it, I am still contracting, but the muscle is being stretched. This is called eccentric. And you might say, well, Susana, what are you telling me here about the contraction of one thing and another? Well, it has been seen in a study that training with eccentric exercises, that is at this point, will increase muscle mass. So when you're in a gym and they tell you, come on, don't let go of the movement, keep it, do it slowly, don't lose it, who does this? They are not doing anything. Okay? But if later, when we are returning the movement and we do it with the same contraction at the eccentric level, it will be much more positive and we will recruit many more neurons. So, when doing the exercises, please remember this topic of eccentric contraction. A common question in general is that there are people who love doing cardio and who love doing strength training. So, you don't know if doing one or the other will harm the increase in bone mass. Well, initially, there is no problem in combining them, but it is true that it has been observed that when doing, for example, a 60-minute routine where I do 15 minutes of strength training, then 15 minutes of cardio, then strength training again and cardio again, we lose explosive strength. So, what would be the most recommended approach? What I would suggest is to do half an hour of strength training and then the next half hour do cardio training. How could we start? For a person who has never trained, how could they begin to do strength exercises? There's no need to pick up a weight. We have two ways to work with our own body weight. Well, one, specifically doing squats and planks with our own body weight or using unstable bases such as the Pilates ball or the Bosu. This, for example, is very easy to do in yoga classes with a good teacher. When we want to increase this strength, we will use progressive weights, alternating with or without cardio, as I have mentioned. What I would recommend is these functional exercises should be multi-action or dynamic. People who only train one muscle group and that's it, the body doesn't work that way. The body is integrated. The more muscle groups we engage, for example, doing lunges while performing this type of exercise or doing a trunk flexion while raising our arms, it is really much more positive for the body. Well, how do we start this? Because I have no idea how many repetitions I do. Well, for super beginners, it is recommended to do between 6 and 8 repetitions per exercise with small weights. If we do more than 12, we can enter fatigue, which is not desirable. We can rest between repetitions for 30 to 60 seconds. And if we are lifting much heavier weights, we can even rest for 1 to 2 minutes. For those of you who are already used to exercising, I would recommend that the sets be between 12 and 16. And to build strength, it is not necessary to spend an hour. Half an hour is more than enough, as long as it is an intense workout. I always recommend doing flexibility exercises at the end, and if possible, balance exercises as well.